Thank you everyone for joining the Tableau product roadmap review of some of the latest and greatest 2019 updates. As a way of quick introduction, my name is Amanda Kwan. I am a Senior Business Intelligence and Analytics Consultant at Thorogood, and I'm joined here today by my colleague, Dev. For today's agenda, we'll start with a quick intro to Thorogood, and then really we're just going to dive right into some of those updates. The 2019.3 beta had just been announced about a month or so ago, I want to say mid-June, and with that, there are three major updates that we really wanted to focus on in today's webcast. The first, some aspects to the data management add-on, the Explain Data feature, which is pretty exciting, as well as some information around Project McKinley. There are a number of other minor features in the 2019.3 beta that we'll cover, and then we'll finish off the webcast with a quick conversation around the recent acquisition of Tableau by Salesforce. For those of you who don't know us, Thorogood, we are an independent global professional services firm. We specialize in business intelligence and analytics strategies, solutions, services, and we do have a very keen focus on our customers. We're a global company. We are headquartered out of London, but also have offices in the New York area, Philadelphia, Singapore, Sao Paulo, Bangalore, and interestingly enough, Dev and I are joining you from our new Boston office. All of our consultants across the globe are recruited and trained in the same way to develop a unique mix of skills. So we blend business understanding in the forms of, say, industry and functional experience with strong technical aptitude and a deep understanding of analytic tools and techniques. I will say that we do offer a full range of BI and analytics services. So whether you're looking at an initial strategy and putting together a roadmap for a larger initiative, looking to actually implement any kind of application, things like planning, business modeling, other services, all the way through to training, adoption, and long-term support. Because we are an independent consulting firm, we do work with a wide array and wide range of technologies. On the slide here, we do just have a sampling of some of the technologies we work with, and we're also partners with a number of these technology firms. But of particular interest to us today, for obvious reasons, would be our Tableau partnership specifically. So our Tableau practice actually started back in 2012, I want to say. It's been 7 years so far, and since that time, we've established Thorogood as a member of the Partner Advocacy Board, a strategic alliance partner, and we were previously named Partner of the Year in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. We do have many, many consultants globally with Tableau development and delivery experience, including its integration with other technologies like Salesforce, fun fact, which we'll probably talk about a bit later, Teradata, AWS, Azure, etc. In terms of today's webcast, we are providing a Tableau update. So it does assume that the listeners here on the line do understand the Tableau product, have a baseline understanding of the Tableau suite of products, generally speaking, because really what we're looking to do right now is dive straight into some of the latest updates off of 2019.3. The first one being data management. So the data management add-on is actually fairly new. It came out probably earlier this year. I want to say in the 2019.1 release. Within the data management add-on, there are two specific sub-tools within it. The first is Tableau Prep Conductor, and that came out in about 2019.1. And the second, Tableau Catalog, is what we'll be really focusing on here today as the latest and greatest. For those of you who don't know, just as a quick review, for Tableau Prep Conductor, as I had mentioned, released back in February, it looks like. And what it does is it allows for scheduling, sharing, managing, and monitoring a variety of your Tableau Prep data flows. While Tableau Catalog, which we'll showcase soon, being part of the 2019.3 beta, does provide a variety of things like data quality warnings, fields in use, user permissions, metrics, and a ton more. And a quick screenshot on the slide here, just so you can see what some of those data quality warnings will look like. But let's dive into a couple of key features of each of these sub-tools. The first, for Tableau Prep Conductor, at a high level, it allows you to share your flows. So you can publish and run data flows that you've created in the Tableau Prep Builder. So you can securely share sources and enable everyone within your organization or whomever you share to with the most up-to-date or updated data. You can also, and this is the big thing that we heard about all of I would want to say the end of last year, being able to actually automate those data prep flows at various frequencies. I remember last year I went to the Tableau Conference 2018, and when we saw Tableau prep, the first thing everyone said was, well, when can we start actually scheduling and ensuring that all of these flows can be run every day, every week, every hour, et cetera. So now you can actually automate and specify the frequency with which you would like those flows to run. And then finally, in addition to sharing and scheduling those flows, you can also monitor them from an administrative perspective. So you can view a history of flows that have run, ensure that things are running smoothly. You can see the number of rows that are being updated and added as they run. You can also look at a flow revision history in case for any reason you publish something and decide, actually, I need to revert back to a previous version. For Tableau Catalog, brand new, the 2019.3 beta, it allows you to look through a list of data sources that are made available to you. So you can, at any point in time, decide that you want to connect to a new source and start analyzing it. You can also have keywords that you search for in case you're not exactly sure the exact table name or database name that you would like to connect to. From an administrative perspective, it also allows you to easily identify different connections between tables and data sources as they are connected to a variety of workbooks and dashboards that have been published to your server. So if you know as an IT administrator, you are expecting a change to a database, or a database has to go offline for maintenance, or you're looking to change a table structure, you can very easily now understand what that overall impact will be to your total server. And then finally, and this is also a huge thing that we've seen in the Tableau community, the idea that users can ultimately start to trust and learn to trust the data that they're seeing. I've heard many times from many clients, how can I trust the numbers that I'm looking at? The idea of Tableau Catalog in this last feature here is that within a given dashboard or workbook, you can actually allow the user in a panel on the side to view the tables and databases that are driving the visual, the fields that are part of that visual, as well as any formulas or calculations used to create those numbers. So that way, as your users and your content consumers are reviewing their data, they can start to feel more comfortable in that they can trust what they're seeing. Let me go ahead and hand it off to my colleague, Deb, who will go ahead and show it to you.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm going to switch over to Tableau Online. So what is Tableau Catalog? It's really the ability to go into your own data sources. So if I go to Explore, or if I go to any of my recents, for example, I do have a sample sales dashboard prepared for this demo. Tableau Catalog is the ability to really trace and check the lineage and impact, but then also see, do I even have any data quality warnings existing on any of my data sources? So how do I do this? If I now search in the omnichannel box here, back to Amanda's point around discovery, let's say I'm interested in my dimensions that are available to me anywhere on my Tableau server or Tableau Online instance. So if I search dim here, you can see now in my smart search, I have different options available to me depending on what has been published, but really dependent on my level of permissions also on Tableau. So you can see I have views, data sources, tables, and databases. So interesting, I can see there are some tables that are dimension tables for channel, customer, and product. I can quickly hover over them. I can see how many views there are connected to them. I can see, are they all coming from one database? I connected to multiple instances. I'm interested in going to the actual database itself. So now that I'm here, you can see along the right-hand side, I have a lineage section starting with what I'm on right now, which is the Thorogood CPG demo database. So looking at this lineage right now, you'll see I have circles where there are basically connections giving me a sense of what's upstream and what's downstream. So who are my owners? What are the different data sources? And as I click through these and interact with them, it's going to change what I'm able to see. Also, what I'm able to even see in the first place is going to be dependent on my level of access to that given data source in the first place. So if you're worried about people being able to go in and dig around and see something they shouldn't be able to, that's already going to be handled on a permissions level. If I want to make sure that my users have the most up-to-date information with respect to data quality warnings, I can add them on a database level. I can also add them on individual table levels, depending on what I want them to know about. If I go to quality warning here, I can enable the warning, and then I can decide what kind of warning type do I want to add to it. Warning, general warning, deprecated, stale data, under maintenance. Depending on the nature of the data, how often it's going to be refreshed, how many users you have hitting on a given day or month, you might want to customize the message as well. I've enabled the data quality warning on this database. I can see that it's been added. How can I tell if something has a data quality warning on it? Well, for most users, they might not know where to look. However, if I'm an administrator and I've already set up a data quality warning, when someone goes into a dashboard and it's been configured for either the tables or the databases or whatever data sources are feeding that view, they can actually go into the data details section, and along the right-hand side over here, you'll see under the data sources that Tableau is going to tell me that there's a warning configured for that data source. This is one I already made earlier before this, so the message is a little different. But you can see here, you can see who set the data quality warning, when it was set, what type of warning it is, and it'll let you know whether or not it's upstream or downstream of that asset. What does this mean from a business user perspective or for a given Tableau admin? This is going to give people the ability to manage data quality across the board at not just the data source level, but from directly within Tableau server itself. This is going to also build more trust for users in the data that they're going to be seeing. So now I can go in and search and see not just which dimensions are available, but if I'm the admin, I can see how many people are using. So if there are 4 different versions of your customer dimension table, but everyone's using one of them, that's a pretty clear message from a data lineage perspective that you probably don't need to maintain and pay for capacity for the other 3 dimension tables. From a data discovery perspective as well, I also want to highlight the ability for people to actually search for data lineage and new data sources in desktop itself. In the new 2019.3 desktop version, if I create a new data source, you'll see there's a new button under Connect that has appeared, which was not available in the previous version. So if you're on 2019.2, you won't be able to see this search for data. Clicking on this, you may have to sign in to your Tableau Online instance. However, now you can see here that I didn't even have to open up my web browser window. Directly from within desktop, if I'm ready to sit down and start authoring, I can now also search for my content type, depending on what I'm interested in. I can search directly for data sources. I can search for databases and files, so extracts, ad hoc. You can also just search directly against the tables. But you can see here now, I have a very clear view of all these different data sources that are available to me based off of the level of permissions that I have on that server. Oh, nice. I can also see my warning next to the sample superstore that I already set up earlier. And then if you connect to this one, you can click connect, and directly in your Tableau workbook, you'll have a new data source connection created directly from discovered data.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Deb. So that was Tableau Catalog, one of the 3 biggest features part of the 2019.3 beta. The next one we'll talk about is Explain Data, which since it's come out a month ago, I've been joking with my colleagues that this is what happens when you apply AI to your tooltips. So I've used that as the subtitle on the slide here. But at a high level, Explain Data ultimately looks to provide insight into a particular data mark within your visual. As a reminder, a data mark is going to be a singular data point within a viz on a dashboard or within a workbook. What it does is it utilizes Bayesian statistical methods to generate a variety of explanations for why that mark has the value that it has. And Tableau will evaluate all of those explanations and deliver to you the ones with highest value as actual text, as well as additional visuals for you to view. What you can then do as that viewer that's used Explain Data is you can opt to actually take that automatically created visual that has appeared and go ahead and export that or add it to a new worksheet within your workbook. So you can just go ahead and use it into any other dashboards or stories that you create. So as an end user, you didn't actually have to determine exactly why the number was the number or the KPI that you were seeing. Tableau has mined your data and has been able to apply AI to determine some possible explanations, and now you can go ahead and just embed that visual into an existing dashboard yourself. And really, it's quite easy to use. As I've mentioned before, it's in your tooltip. It just is it's a new icon within that window.
What does Explain Data actually look like? So flipping back to my 2019.3 desktop window, you can see here on my dashboard that I've created a pretty straightforward sales by city or sales by customer, and I'm pretty interested in just seeing not just my sales, but also coloring it by profit. So how am I doing across these different cities? But let's say, for example, I am particularly interested in my technology products that are selling in New York City. So you can see here, it's my biggest bar. It's pretty dark profit-wise. And then hovering over from a distribution perspective, I can see I do have not the biggest range from a profit point of view, but I do have some crazy outliers. I don't necessarily have time to sit here and create 60 different visuals to try to slice and dice it across the board and see what's driving different things could potentially be contributing to that. So if I right-click on that bar itself, you'll see what appears here is this new Explain Data option with a little light bulb next to it. So clicking on this is going to open up the Explain Data window. And you can see here, Tableau was thinking for a little bit there because it is going to try to explain it on the fly. So none of this is being pre-stored. Tableau itself is just saying, okay, for the select statement for where city is New York City and where category is technology and I know what my profit is, what can I try to glean from that bar that I've just selected? So the first view here, I thought this was pretty helpful, hovering over this info button where it says, based on the selected mark, Tableau runs a statistical analysis on the data in the view and in your data source. This page shows possible explanations for the value of the selected mark considered with other information in the data source. And that's what's really key here is that Tableau understands that you're not necessarily going to be able to holistically look at every single dimension that might be in your data source at any given point in time, but it's going to try to do it for you and then also tell you which ones are statistically significant or maybe not the most statistically significant, but could potentially be interesting. So let's look at what Explain Data is going to try to help me understand. So let's look at sales. Right? I can toggle between looking at two different measures, and it's going to analyze for profit or analyze for sales because there could be very different factors driving profit versus what's driving sales. But looking at sales, 41,000 is higher than expected. What are some of my possible explanations? So you can see here I actually have a window pane that's going to give me different explanations that it's come up with, and associated with each of those panes, I might have a different potential viz that's going to help me explain it in a better way, because bars might not be the best way to view it. So here you might want to see just sales distribution for row values and then followed with an explanation table on the top. So what is this telling me? From a subcategory point of view, this is going to say this mark has distinctive ratio of records within the phone subcategory. So is it possible that if you look at phones compared to any other subcategory within New York in technology, that this could be a potential reason that's driving it? Okay, interesting. Do I really like this viz? I don't know. I'm not going to save it for now. Now, let's look at state. This is selected marks entirely made up of records within the category. State equals New York. Okay, I probably could have told you that, Tableau. So it's still learning. And then region. So you can see here, the region East has average sales of 231. And then a single extreme value. So this is interesting. This, it would have probably taken me a little bit longer to get to this point. Now within 2 clicks, I'm able to quickly see this record changes the aggregated value from 30,000 to 41,000, and it's saying that there's one data point that's bumping you up from an average or the sum of 30 to 41K. So that's pretty significant. Interesting. What's going on here? Now, look at this record. You can see that for technology in New York City, the sales value for $11,000, interesting. It's coming from one customer, and why is his discount so huge or so small, depending on how you're selling? But I have the option now to view the full data so I can see, has he been doing this historically over time, or is it just for the year that I chose to look at because I pre-filtered it to 2018? I can view the full data. I can also look at the full data sitting under the summary. I could also export this to Excel if I needed to perform some quick analysis on it, all within 2 to 3 clicks of just using Explain Data. I also really like this viz. If I click on this icon there in the upper right-hand corner, Tableau is actually going to automatically generate the visual for me, keeping all of my global filters on the top in the filter section up here. It's going to generate the title for me, so it's not just going to be sheet 6. It's also going to try to assign a caption, which I don't think I have used yet, but at least it's trying. And that way, too, if you want some text that you want to throw into your tooltip or something like that, it is generating it for you, as well as with this nice little bubble. So if you do like that, it's something that you could lift and shift. If I really want to use that viz on my dashboard, I could just drag it in here, and I didn't even have to build it. Now it just exists on my dashboard. That is the Explain Data demo. I'm going to hand it back to Amanda.
Awesome. The one thing I will say is we also wanted to demo Ask Data because one of the questions we've received, I want to say over the last 4 weeks is Explain Data just Ask Data? The answer is no. Ask Data did come out earlier this year, and that's a question and answer type of feature where you can start using natural language to actually ask questions, and Tableau will start automatically creating visuals. Explain Data, which is the newest feature, Deb was able to just demonstrate to us here. Project McKinley, which is the current code name that Tableau has for this new feature, it's more on the technical side of things. It's not really particularly front-end, like demonstration ready, but really it's ultimately just an add-on to Tableau Server that gives more functionality and flexibility to some of your back-end server management activities. It is a separate license from Tableau Server. It's in beta with 2019.3, and mind you, it's not part of Tableau Online because technically Tableau does already provide all of these services and that management for its Tableau Online customers. I'm not going to go into too much detail around the productionization and server management. I do have some information on the slide here, and we'll have some links at the end of the webcast. But some interesting things, it does allow you to automate the movement of items across environments or through production deployments, and it eliminates the need for custom scripting with deployment pipelines. So one of the trends that we've been seeing in the industry is really trying to move toward that more agile DevOps model, and being able to automate a lot of these productionization efforts has been huge. And then from a server management side, there is an aspect of kind of query performance, overall utilization, as well as the ability to have metadata hosting and other like background task performance updates. In terms of other features in the 2019.3 beta, there are a lot. I've thrown everything here on this slide for you. You can go ahead and check out Tableau's website if you're looking for more information. I'll say the two most exciting things, at least for us, I've highlighted here. The export to PowerPoint improvements. This was another one when in the Tableau conference last year, when Tableau stated that they were going to allow for export to PowerPoint. It was huge. What it does allow you to do is just go ahead and take your entire workbook and export each of the dashboards into different PowerPoint slides. The latest improvement in 2019.3 allows you to specify specific dashboards within your workbook to export as opposed to the entire thing. The second one is the Databricks native connector, particularly of interest and to Deb here, who is pretty passionate about Databricks. What I might do is have Deb do her Databricks demo in a separate video that we'll put online and provide to all of the listeners here, so you can take a look at exactly how that new Databricks native connector works with Tableau. And then finally, I did want to ensure that we spent a little bit of time talking about the Salesforce acquisition. The acquisition went through, or at least the press release came through, I want to say June 10th. Huge in the business intelligence community. I remember waking up to about 1 million emails with people sending through links saying, did you see this? It is a full acquisition. Salesforce is acquiring Tableau, though I will say Tableau is maintaining its independence. So it's keeping the Tableau brand. Adam is still going to remain as CEO, and it will continue to operate independently. The joining of the companies makes a ton of sense if you think about it. Salesforce being the #1 CRM company, Tableau being one of the leaders in data visualization. The missions of both companies really meld and make a lot of sense. So we're pretty excited about the acquisition. One of the things I'll say that a lot of people have been asking us is, what does that change in kind of day-to-day, if anything? I will say the thing that probably would make the most sense has to do with the inherent visuals that exist within the Salesforce reporting platform. So whether you use Salesforce Classic or Salesforce Lightning, I will say I would suspect, fingers crossed, and this is all speculation at this point, that the Tableau visuals and some of that interactivity that exists within your Tableau server or Tableau Online may appear within your Salesforce Classic or Salesforce Lightning pages, which would be very exciting. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day.